Hello, welcome to this video. We've got slightly odd lighting setup going on because we're filming in my garage because it's raining outside and we were supposed to be filming part 2 of next week's video, which is coming soon. Anyway, today we're going to convert David's 3x system into a 1x system, which should be good, clear up some space in his cockpit and make him a lot, well, I don't know what it'll do, but it's just a lot lighter of a bike. Yeah. So we're filming in my garage, which I feel like we could probably do more videos in the future. But this is our first test and it doesn't look that great, but like we'll get there.
Should be fine.
And I'll try not to do a Henry and just cut everything we're doing out of the shot. Like, after this I'll probably zoom in here and we'll go through all of that stuff. Yeah. So this is the new chainring we're putting on. How many teeth is it?
32.
32, so that's the same as me. It's in this cool blue colour which matches David's bike. Personally I would have chosen black, but like...
Yeah, I was going to choose black, but they were out of order.
Yeah, it's the same chainring that my dad has, it's the same make. This was, and it's, yeah, these are good chain rings. So, we're going to start by undoing the other side and getting the crank out, because we've got the crank tool to do that. I can look at the hole and I can just do it. My brain just automatically knows. David putting in lots of effort to get it undone. You don't need the crank puller because it just feels like it is pulling it off as I'm doing this.
That would be really useful for me.
Yeah.
So
that we go stick it in.
I'll go look at that.
Now what we'd usually do is just derail the chain and so I take the chain ring. Have you got clutch?
Yep.
It's not on. So I shouldn't be able to do that. So usually we just take the chain off like it is now, so I can now wiggle this out. Should be able to. It's not at all greased. Get stuck. Wait.
Oh,
there we go. Okay, so this is the bit. This bit here should be covered in grease. At the moment it's slightly wet and rusty and covered in nothing. So, going back to what I was originally going to do, is find David's master link. This link right here is David's master link. Oh, we're out of frame here. This one here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just literally, supposed to use master link pliers for this, but I'm literally just going to pinch these two bits together and it should pop undone. There we go, I just did it by hand. After all of that I managed to do it by hand. We'll just remove this from David's bike. So David's going to use the Allen key to undo each one of these. It'll be quite tight and then we'll just stick this chain ring on afterwards. So David's going to get on with that and I'm going to remove all this front shifter. We're going to start down here by releasing the cable tension and hoping that we don't need any of the same Allen keys as David. And this one goes in here and I'm going to release all that cable tension that's feeding. So basically we start by removing the cable and then we work backwards from there. And David's just slowly dismantling his bike.
Ah, we've got a spacer.
This is the cable here. Feed it back down through. It's like partially internally routed. We're going to have to cut the end of this to feed it out of the bike. But we'll do that in a second. Now we're going to come and undo, there's a single bolt on the other side that holds all of this in place. And we're just going to undo that. So that comes off, you wiggle it and your entire front derailleur comes off. So this is now the second time I've done this because I did it to my old bike. So I feel a bit more confident this time knowing that I'm just not going to break David's bike. And we can give that a nice clean in a bit from where it was sat. Now what I'm going to do is, if these cable cutters are sharp enough, I'm just going to cut the end of this cable off because David won't need it anymore, and then feed this back through all this cable housing and funness. Undo all these zip ties all the way along the underside of his down tube. We're now up at David's cockpit. So I've just basically undone all of this cabling which goes into David's shifter right here. So we're going to start by just removing, we're going to have to remove everything from his grips to his brakes to the shifter to actually get it off. With his lock-on grips, which is 3mm, which I know off the top of my head because the amount of times I've taken them off. Grips should just wiggle off, like so. So now we're just going to put them somewhere safe. Now we move up an Allen key size, and I'm going to have to ask David to borrow the one he's using. This is why you always have like two sets of Allen keys each. Remember his brake angle, which literally looks like perfectly straight down, which I can't see as that's healthy. But now we just take off his brake and leave that to dangle. So now we're just going to finally remove his 2x, not 3x as I said earlier, shifter, which should now, just loosen it off a little bit more. Slider.
My teeth are literally half the size of others because of how much they've been worn down.
Slide off, and we now have the shifter end of the derailleur. So I'm just going to reassemble this bit while we'll show you what David's done. So David's basically unscrewed all of his, just lift it up a tiny bit, unscrewed all of them, so they're all on a pile down there, and he's about to stick the fresh blue one on.
Look like.
So yeah, so that will go on there, and it will look like that, which is pretty cool.
Looks pretty.
Who doesn't like anything but fresh clips, because they're cool. Yeah, so I'll let you do that. What we'll do is we'll stick, I'm just going to roughly stick his brakes back on, then I'll do a proper setup with David where we'll get his bike actually set up for him properly. Ooh. Rhys's Grease ASMR. Nice. That's still really, there we go. That feels a lot nicer. But I could probably, if I can get it out again, do with some more grease. That's better. That sounds good.
That's just satisfying installation.
Yes. So where's the other pedal gone? So we're just going to whack this other pedal back on, and then we'll catch up when we're putting the chain back on. I've got both pedals on now, looking good, sounding good. And do you want to unveil the new chain?
Chain opening ASMR.
Yeah. That was so good. That sounded so good. So, this is now the complicated part of getting the chain through the derailleur. Sorry.
Rhys just does everything to his bike that's just like, this is probably how you do it.
So, to get the derailleur on correctly, we go over this one, and then through the other side. Yep. So back over this one, and in that gap there. In. Okay. Yes. It does have a master link. But it's not a master link. It's a pin link.
Ah, I've never.
That there is the pin that goes in between the bits of chain. Insert Rhys's hands not functioning properly because they're covered in grease. That's the link bit there, and you push it through and then that just snaps off.
How do you focus it?
This is a chain pusher, so I'm going to use that to move the pin into the slot. The question is, How do you get rid of that?
Do you not snap it off?
To fix a sticking brake pad, what you do is you get the Allen key, you stick it in, we slightly loosen off both of these, then slightly loosen off both of them, then someone grabs the brake and holds it down. Whilst they're holding it down, you can do this by yourself, but like it's easier. Tighten it up, then release the brake, and then that annoying sound should have stopped. But that's just because the wheel's not in quite right.
Yeah, that's just the wheel isn't
But
true.
yeah, that's how you set it up properly. I'm about to adjust the shifting, but if you're really interested in that, let me know in the comments, because I won't do it for this because it's just slightly boring and you're going to take up a bit of time. I know I just said we're going to do cockpit setup, but we're going to do saddle first. You have your saddle tilted quite up. Do you like that? Or
I think it's worked well so far. I just...
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to stand at the front. You're going to sit on your bike. Put that foot right down. So put your foot, this section of your foot wants to be on the pedal. A little bit further forward. There, yeah. So drop your heel, like that. So you actually have your saddle set up correctly, because that is a straight line. You could probably go up a slight bit, but just by a little bit, and then that's about right for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you want that leg to be just as perfectly straight as it can be, and that's how it's set up. So the straighter your leg is, the better. So yeah, you can just, it's like bending his knee, so just go up by like a centimetre or two, and that should be the perfect saddle height. Go grab some Allen keys and do some shifting of the cockpit. So, David, if you want to sit on your bike, just move that out of the way. So basically, you want to set up your cockpit around the brakes. So if you put your hand on the handlebar, now put one finger out. So what I'm going to do is I'm setting it up so this tip bit where he has the most leverage is where his finger sits. And if you stand up on the pedals, put your pedals level and stand up, this wants to be, so you see how his arms are coming straight down here? This wants to be in line with how he sits, like that. So it's a straight line from where his finger is to where his elbows are. Up, it's a lot easier having someone else to tighten it for you.
Yeah.
And then with the shifter, you just slide that right as close up to your brake as you can get it. Move the shifter right up, close enough, as close as I can get it, and at the same angle as the thing. Brake, there we go. Names have just left my head. Now we'll do the same for the other wrist, other hand. So we'll loosen the brake off. So yeah, trying to make sure the brakes are similar levels, otherwise you can really feel the difference, even if it's like a minuscule. Yeah.
Yeah, brakes are pretty good.
So then, yeah, David's brakes are nice and close to his fingers, so when he squeezes them, you can actually reach his finger over them. So yeah, that's how they should be set up. It's looking good.
Yeah.
David inspecting his bike.
Yeah.
I hope at some point David's going to ride his bike.
Oh yeah.
Just remembers to ride bike. That blue chainring does look good though. I'm going to risk it in the rain. Let's go risk it in the rain. It's pretty good.
It feels really nice. Like it
Yeah.
feels easier to pedal just because the.
It technically is. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed me and David doing some bike upgrades to David's bike. David and his bike. Yeah. See you in next week's video. Hopefully we can get to Cambridge and it's not going to rain.
Yes.
Otherwise we'll be doing more filler videos. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Peace.